Joe Diffie was right. There's something women like about a pickup man. We sure like Gary Rempel, but he's a different kind of pickup man than you might be thinking. He tells us about life in the rodeo arena ahead of the PRCA Circuit Finals in Great Falls in January.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You want to get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Thames, if you want to go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
I'm Shannon Newth,
And we're No Damn Experts. We're back from holiday break.
We are, and this will be our final episode of 2022.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got in store for us today, Shannon?
Well, I'm very excited. We have Gary Rempel with us. And Gary, I'm going to ask you to brag on yourself because I don't know your full resume here, but he is PRCA, multi-time PRCA Pickup Man of the Year.
Pickup Man of the Year.
I was only Pickup Man of the Year one time.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
But I've been to the national finals several times.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Hey.
Well, my questions
big
just
deal.
got deeper.
There you
Gary.
go. Yeah. So Gary is here because Gary lives here in the Great Falls area. Gary is a rodeo expert, horse expert, all of that. Of course, PRCA finals coming up in January here in Great Falls. So you are our rodeo expert man, and we want to hear all your stories.
Yes. Let's start with the basics. Are you originally from Great Falls? How long have you been in Great Falls?
Originally from Kyle, Saskatchewan.
Oh,
Canadian.
Yes. And
We got excited about that.
we've been in Great Falls probably 30 years, but my wife was from Washington State.
Okay.
And of course, I met her on the rodeo trail. She wouldn't leave me alone. She chased me till I finally, she got me
Sounds
caught.
what my husband says about me. I'm like, I don't think
Sounds
that's
about
true.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we ended up moving over here, even into Great Falls, because of the fact it just seemed like a better place to rodeo out of.
Okay.
We knew one person here, so we stayed at their place until we got situated. And Jody got a job, and I rodeoed and different things till all my paperwork come through.
Yeah.
Now I'm a permanent resident.
Yeah.
Watch out.
So how far is Kyle, Saskatchewan from Val Marie, Saskatchewan?
Val Marie would be, maybe close to 100 miles.
Okay,
Not too far.
not bad.
Yeah.
I grew up just 30 miles south of Val Marie
Good for you.
in Loring, Montana.
Yeah, been there, been in the bar.
Yeah, it's a great bar, is it not?
Wow.
The first one you get to when you go across the border.
Yeah.
We actually have a guest who knows where you're
I
from.
know. Isn't it? Well,
This is
I
great.
knew when he said Kyle, Saskatchewan. I'm like, oh, yeah, we
He
can
knows.
talk.
Okay.
Well, didn't you know Val Marie's famous for Brian Troche?
Yes, I
You
did.
knew that.
Yes.
Exactly.
So you rodeoed. I'm assuming for all of our guests, we name this podcast aptly. I don't want to
Yes.
pretend to be an expert. But I assume you don't rodeo as a pickup man. You actually had a sport that you
Well,
Event.
yeah, when I started, I roped calves
okay.
and team roped. And then my dad was a pickup man up in Canada.
Okay.
So I always kind of liked that. And we had, like, I was born and raised on the Matador Community Pasture, which is largest community pasture in Canada. And it was around 89,000 acres.
Oh.
We run 6,000 to 7,000 head of cattle. So that's what
gosh.
my upbringing was. And of course, we always had 5 or 6 hired men there. And some of them would ride broncs. We're rodeo people. So we would, and my brothers too, rodeoed like rough stock. They
Okay.
rode bulls and horses and stuff like that. But anyways, to get started on the pickup deal, we would built an arena at home and built a buck and chute in it so we could practice. Kenny and Wade could practice on bulls or cows, whatever
Right.
there. But I was more of the timed event guy. I didn't have enough nerve to be a rough stock guy, so I was timed events. But anyways, like I said, some of the guys would be, like our hired men would be bronc riders. And so we would buck horses. We weren't supposed to buck those horses.
Oh.
But it seems to me like every time Dad went to town, we would buck some horses.
And I'm sure he never knew.
So anyways, I started picking up for those guys at home. And then as time went on and I got older and I got more interested, I finally got a job picking up. And just it's never really stopped since then.
So how many years have you been picking up?
A lot of them. A lot of them. I mean, it's over 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a long
time.
That's a long time.
So there's really an art, in my opinion, to picking someone up because you can't just easily, if you aren't skilled, ride up next to a. Maybe we should start with.
Yeah. What is a pickup man? What does that mean?
A pickup man's job basically is to, after the 8-second ride is up, you ride in there, you take the guy off the horse, and then you're able to help get the horse out of the arena, basically, is their job. That's your main job. Like we're in the arena for the whole rodeo, basically, because we're, chasing timed event cattle out, and then in the bull riding, you're there to rope bulls and get them out if they don't want to go. But that's basically to get the guys off the horse and to get the horse out of the arena.
You have to be a bit of an animal whisperer and a human, predictor of behavior. It seems
really,
to do your job well.
It makes a lot of difference. Like if you're, and a lot of people can understand this, when you understand livestock, like you've been around livestock. Some guys, the guys that start picking up that have never been around livestock have a lot harder time at doing it until they kind of, the understanding livestock kind of is a natural thing. I mean, you can kind of learn that, but it's kind of natural instinct, especially if you're born and raised doing that kind of thing. So that helps a lot. Mm-hmm. The horses that you ride really make the difference because without a good horse, you're nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get your job done, but it's not good and it's not pretty and it's not safe for anybody.
Yeah.
So
imagine
go
the
in
safety
like
aspect.
a little bit of chaos ready to just happen when you're there. Well, let's see what happens here.
Yeah. Well, a good horse is like 70% of your job.
Does your horse get Pickup Horse of the Year awards? Are there
No,
horse awards for that?
there has never been that a pickup horse award. They are talking about starting one.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the best one I ever had, we had to put down a few years ago. He was like he was 35 years old or something of that nature. I'm sure he would have won it.
Yeah.
If I had it.
It is crazy how long horses live.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they
Compared
will.
to other
I mean,
animals,
they kind of get towards the end where, like they get up around 28, 30 years old. They're starting to show their age and slow down and stuff like that. I mean, you can still use them, but you can't use them so
work them as hard as you
right.
used to.
So their last few years are just kind of retirement, and then as they get older, their teeth start going, and it's just it's a hard thing to do, but it's just got to be done.
It's hard to watch animals, especially ones that have been so good and you've had such a bond with, get to that point.
I know when we finally had to put my old horse down, and I cried like a baby.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Cowboys cry too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the way it's supposed to work. Like you'd be just
No.
a horrible human being, I think, if you did.
If you could do that over and over without emotion. Yeah.
Another thing about picking up, there's always basically two pickup men.
Yeah.
And when you got a good partner that knows to work, when you work together, that's when it really makes it fun and a lot more efficient.
So let's dig in before we get too far down this path. I don't know if you listened to it, but we did a rodeo episode.
By we, I was not involved with this one. Yeah.
So somewhere back in the archives of We're No Damn Experts, there's a fantastic episode about rodeo. Where I share my knowledge with my co-host, and then she asks questions, and I'm like, I guess no one's ever asked me that before, so I have no idea what that means. So let's talk just about the logistics about the players in a rodeo. You've got the stock contractors that bring in the rough stock. You've got rodeo production companies. And then you have the contestants themselves. Who are all the players and how do they all work together? And the end result that I want from your story is, how do you get hired as a pickup man? And do you get to be hired in teams or not?
Right, I understand. It does take a lot to put on a rodeo.
Yeah.
Like you said, you've got your production people. Well, the smaller rodeos are just more like a committee type thing, where everybody's got their jobs. They've been doing it, volunteering for years and years. And then as you get into the bigger rodeos, you got it's more of a production.
Yeah.
And it's run right down to the minute and things like that, You got your people out in the back, like in the back end. That's the very most important part is the back. Everybody always thinks the front makes your rodeo. The back end makes your rodeo. Because if it wasn't for the back end guys, the front end guys wouldn't have nothing to brag about.
Yeah.
So,
horses aren't in the chute for anybody to ride.
That's
Right.
exactly right. Yeah.
I don't know where they went.
Yeah.
They were here just a
Exactly.
few minutes
I don't
ago.
know, running around those bowls or somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. But as far as getting a job, it's hard to get started. And I always tell, I put on pickup schools for years, and you would have young guys coming, and a lot of them were just coming to try it. Not that they were going to try to make a big deal out of it, but just to see what it was like. But you get the odd guy that really wants to do it, and lucky enough, there's been a few guys that went through my school that really did go on and did very well, and are still doing it. But it's hard to get a job.
Yeah.
Every contractor has already got a couple pickup men that they use on a regular basis. And why they do that is they can count on them, and they get to know the bucking horses. That's a very important thing. And you can help them bucking horses to be better when you get to know them and do different things. But for a young guy just to get started, first of all, you got to be able to do the job. Then you got to get 4 or 5 horses that aren't cheap, and they're and they're not easy to make. As far as picking up, because if you got nowhere to pick up, it's hard to make a pickup work.
Yeah.
And a trailer big enough to haul them, and a truck big enough to pull that, and it's hard. But if you're consistent, or whatever, you won't. If you just keep trying, there will be a spot for you sometime, somewhere.
So pretty much you have to wait until someone retires,
Yes,
and then you can sneak in.
Yes,
and hopefully there's a senior person to help mentor as well while you're there.
Sometimes if you're good enough and the word spreads, and you couldn't replace somebody.
Ooh, cutthroat. Yeah.
Drama.
It can be.
Yeah.
How many horses do you ride during a rodeo? I know, maybe I don't know. This is what I think I know. The pickup man, there's maybe 4 in a rodeo. This is my dream, that there's 4 and they switch out every third rider.
You're talking 4 pickup men?
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, at some of the big rodeos,
that might be true.
that is true. That is very true.
Okay.
Because when you get to those bigger rodeos, there's a lot more stock involved, like bucking horse stock, and more contractors. And so, say we go to Ellensburg, Washington, and there's 4 or 5 contractors there.
Okay.
Well, Calgary Stampede's there, so I'm there. And then you got the main contractor, he's got a pickup man. So there may be 3 or 4 pickup men there. It is because there's extra stock, bigger rodeo. I personally don't like any more than 2.
Okay.
Just get too crowded.
Well, 2 guys on the same wavelength can do everything. You don't even. I picked up with my brother for years and years and years.
Okay.
And you don't even have to look to, or you know exactly where he is, and what he's going to do, and things like that. So
that is nice.
Yeah. But on like you're saying, how many horses though? If you go to a smaller rodeo where the entries aren't that big, say you've only got 5 or 6 bareback horses and the same amount of broncs. Well, you can do that on 1 horse, like 1 horse for the bareback riding, 1 horse for the bronc riding, and probably another horse for the bull riding. And you can get away with 3 horses. But if I go to, Denver, and there's only 2 pickup men, well, then you're bucking 12 probably to a section. So you're switching horses. You're using 2 in the bareback riding, 2 in the bronc riding. So you switch halfway through.
Is that just so that to prevent injury to the horse?
Well, the horses, as a rule, like I always say, like in the summertime or something, when your horses are in shape, it's not a big deal to do 10 or 12 unless it's ridiculously hot and things like that.
Yeah.
Or if there's 3 or 4 pickup men, then you don't have to do as much yourself. But say I go to Denver, my horses have been standing around. They're haired up, even though they're blanketed. They're still haired up. They're not in great shape. So it's easier on them too, because you get in those buildings, they're hot, and that you do, 5 or 6 horses on them. It's not that they couldn't do more, but then they're just wringing wet and hot, and it's just easier, especially if you got if you don't have enough horses, then you got to do what you got to do. But when you got enough, it goes easier on them. You can switch.
So does someone in the back just have your other horse waiting and you jump
Yes.
off
Just
and
jump and
exchange?
go?
Because
Yes.
I have never noticed in any rodeo the switching of that.
No, you're right, though. We do have people stand back there with your extra horse,
Pretty seamless.
and you can go back there and switch in a heartbeat and be back out. And it's all time because the guy running the chutes in front knows that you're going to switch at 6 horses or whatever.
Okay.
So he'll hold the.
so
you
they
got
time it.
Yes, you got a bronc rider he knows that we're switching, so he's got a little extra time there. But then the guy that's been holding our switch horse, then he takes our horse we just got off of, and cools him out, walks him out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, yeah.
That is,
So
well-oiled
back end
machine.
really is really important.
That's very important. Yeah,
So what rodeos have you done?
basically most of them.
Every one of them.
No,
Everyone that exists, yeah.
I've been to just about all of them. There's only one rodeo that I probably wish I could have, and I did have a chance to go years ago with Cheyenne.
Oh,
I mean, that's one of the oldest, most
Yeah,
prestigious.
daddy of 'em all.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I didn't go, mainly because I would have had to give up something I already had
oh.
that paid more than going to Cheyenne, and I'm more about the money than just being there.
So how many do you end up doing within a year?
Probably about 25 or so,
Okay.
depending. You're thinking, like, as a pickup man, you just go to one rodeo, you're there for the weekend. You get a contestant, might go to 4 rodeos in one weekend, but
Yeah.
I'm there for the weekend.
You're there for the event.
When
yeah.
you talk about performances, I can do 170
Holy cow.
performances
Yeah.
a year. And that,
Wow.
depending on, that's counting finals too. If you happen to get the NFR, that's another 10 and things like that. Canadian finals, another 6 and things like that.
How many times have you been to the NFR?
9,
How many times to the Calgary Stampede?
37.
Holy
crap! That's a lot. My goodness.
And I think Circuit Finals is in their 45th year.
Yeah.
How many times have you done Circuit Finals?
8.
Wow. Nice.
The deal with the circuit finals, you kind of should be in this circuit to like.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in the guys that are picking up the circuit, and if they're qualified and stuff, should have a better shot at getting the circuit finals than me, that's only doing 2 or 3 rodeos. Years ago, I used to do quite a few. I was running back and forth from doing Montana rodeos to Canada, doing Canadian rodeos, trying to get as many finals as I could.
Yeah.
And it was working out fine for quite some time till I got sick of all the driving and dealing with that border every other week.
Yeah, it certainly changed growing up on the border.
Yeah,
It's a heck of a lot easier to cross before 9/11.
it
Yeah,
was. They just have trails going.
Simple.
Yeah. Just walk across.
You just really just waved as
Yeah.
you drove by, but not the case anymore.
What's the furthest away you've gone for a rodeo?
Have you done international rodeos?
No. I guess probably, I don't know, they're all getting quite a ways away. Like my furthest one now would be Houston, I guess. Yeah.
How many miles are you putting on your
Well, that's-
pickup every year?
Well,
on
that's
one of the
another thing.
horses?
It's not as much as you'd think, like
Okay.
maybe 30,000.
Okay.
Like I said, because I only go to one rodeo weekend.
Yeah, and you stay there for
Yeah. And I don't.
So you're not on the road, like you go down to Houston and then you ride
Go
some
over
type
to
of
Arizona and then up.
plan all the way
Right.
home.
Yeah. When I leave, like I'll be leaving here after New Year's a little bit. We'll go to Fort Worth, San Antonio, Houston,
Okay.
and then back home. So I'm not running back and forth to home.
Gotcha.
Once
good.
I leave, I stay on the road,
For a while.
until there's nowhere else to go.
So horse trailers can get super fancy
Yeah.
and have these amazing
sleeping
living
quarters.
quarters.
Yeah.
Right.
Are you living out of your
I am.
that works out pretty
But mine is pretty. It's not the top.
It's
I mean,
not
it's
the
pretty darn nice.
Hilton
You
of
know,
them.
like it's getting. I think that trailer I got brand new in 2006. So it's got some age on it,
Yeah.
but there's nothing wrong with it.
It's
Yeah.
broken
and
in
it's
for living.
broken in,
yeah.
and it's no. I spent a lot of time by myself. Jody doesn't come all the time, but you wouldn't want any more than 2 people in there.
Yeah.
Even 2 people pushes it sometimes,
It's a little too close.
especially when you're by yourself all the time. And you get the run of everything, and then a woman shows up,
Yeah.
and then
Like,
the
hey,
whole
you're in
deal
my
is-
way.
yeah, put your stuff out in the truck. I need the closet space.
It's a whole different ball game.
Exactly.
Yeah. I want to ask about going back to when we were talking about switching between horses, every few, every
Yeah.
5, 6. Each horse, at least from my experience with riding, every horse has their own little idiosyncrasies. Every horse has,
Yeah.
even well-trained ones, something that's going to maybe potentially set them off versus another one doesn't care about a certain noise. How do you, you're right in the middle of an event, you switch horses. Do you remember all of those little idiosyncrasies when you switch?
Yeah, you do. Like you have, say I'm going to use 4 horses or whatever, 2 in a bareback ride and 2 in the bronc riding. You pick your horses because some are better in one event than the other. And so you like your bareback horses. They need to be a little faster, run a little faster, and things like this. But like you said, though, some horses really crave what they're doing, and you almost got to hold them back because they want to go.
Yeah.
And those are the nice ones. But
Yeah.
then you've got the other horses that really don't crave it.
They're
That
just there doing their
would
job.
just prefer to stand by the chutes all day if they could. So you got to ride them more. They're still good horses, but you got to ride them more to where they're supposed to be. That one old horse, like I said, was the best one I ever had. Like, as quick as that chute cracked, like he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And that was so cool. And some people can't understand this, but he was so good that at the end of the day, when you're thinking about things, you could hardly even remember being on him because
it
everything
was
he
just
did
that
was so
smooth.
perfect.
Yeah.
And then on the other hand, there was some that you damn well knew you were on him.
Ready to be done.
Exactly. He said,
Do you have to teach some of the newer rough stock riders, like the bareback and saddle bronc, how to get off
Well,
and onto you? Because that looks like
yeah.
Oh my
a
gosh.
cluster
Without
waiting
like
to happen.
kicking your horse either. Yeah.
Well, in the amateur deal, you get that a lot.
Yeah.
And you can't hardly blame some of those kids because
They just want
they're
off.
kind of new. Yeah, and you got to be careful around them guys too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they will take you when they're not supposed to. They shouldn't be,
Yeah.
And I've got myself in a wreck because of that sometimes. But yeah, I speech them a little once in a while.
Yeah.
As you should. Yeah.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, when you get into the pro guys, picking up them bronc riders and stuff, that is so cool. Like you ride in there, and as long as the horse is still bucking, because the horse, it's like if the horse is still bucking a little bit, it helps those guys get off because it'll give them some propulsion, to get over, like get a hold of me and get off.
Yeah.
And you hardly even know they're there. You'll feel a hand on your shoulder, and they'll holler thanks in your ear, and
You're like, oh,
You're done.
you're
didn't
done.
barely notice they were there. Yeah.
But something you got to watch because, like, especially on them younger guys, you got to make sure that you get up there in position where you're supposed to be because you never know what in the heck they're going to try to pull off. Like, I've had guys in the bareback ride and go to get off, and they haven't even got their hand out. So they get a hold of me. I start turning my horse
they're
out,
still
and all of a
attached.
sudden, they're still there. So you got to get back in there and
Let
get
'em
them
get
up there.
out.
I
Yeah.
said, get your damn hand out.
What
what are you doing?
Yeah, let
Exactly.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and can you explain too for our listeners why those horses are bucking in the first place? Because you also unstrap the flank.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
see that
Well,
happen.
These horses are born to buck in the first place.
Okay.
They're going to buck. The flank strap on the what you're talking about is just something. It's covered with it's a leather strap with it's covered with fleece, sheepskin, and what they do is a flank man at a rodeo is very, very important. Probably one of the most important jobs at the rodeo. A horse.
Another back behind the chute guy.
Well, he's on the back of the chutes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
When he gets to figure those horses out, like he'll the same flank man all the time, and all they do, that flank is just snug like on there, and it's typical deal. They just want to kick it off. It's not hurting them or anything, and they're going to buck anyways. But all this does is makes them
Irritable.
Or annoyed.
It's not annoying. They just want to kick it off,
Yeah.
and all it's doing is enhancing their motion.
Okay.
So they get to kicking at that. And a flank man can figure out just enough, like every horse might be a little bit different. Some might just take a little bit more. And then they'll, and our job is when we get in there is to take that off. Yeah. It's, contrary to what most people think, you can't make a horse buck. If he don't want to buck, he damn well ain't going to buck. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
They've got to have that in there, bred into them.
Yeah.
The flank is just something to help that out a little bit.
And like you said, they're not being hurt by this.
No,
it's
they're not
a
being
cruel
hurt.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can, I don't know whether, but
Say it.
okay. You get in them goodies, think everything we do is being
Awful.
wrong. And
Yeah.
this flank is on their testicles, and that's well, I'll guarantee you what, you tie something to somebody's testicle, they ain't going to move too
Yeah,
far.
that's not.
It's pretty much,
They're
Yeah, they're not
staying
gonna be
pretty.
bucking.
it's pretty
No.
much a no-brainer. So,
That's a
no
good
need to
point.
move
You're
here.
right. Like, don't want
Exactly.
any movement. That's funny. Did you have?
Do you have to strap your saddle down in a different way? Because I've also seen guys get off holding on to the saddle.
yeah, they will. Yeah, you've been paying attention, haven't you?
Hey,
Was it to the guys or to what was the...
no,
Oh.
I'm a huge nerd. So
Okay.
anytime I watch a performance, like I'm looking at all these elements because
Right.
most of the time people are just watching the contestants, and I'm watching
All the things.
Also, my friend was married to a rodeo clown for a long time,
Oh, yeah?
so you get to see some of those other areas.
Hear about the
Right.
other elements to it.
Yeah,
Well-
so you get to know a little bit more about rodeo just besides what the performance looks
You
like.
don't have to do anything special with you because you got your saddle tightened down as it is. But I know what you mean, because a lot of them guys will get off and they'll just kind
Drag it with
of grab the cantle of your saddle. All
Yeah.
it gives them is something to grab onto.
Okay.
It's better that than my neck.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Or the
I'm
horse.
just gonna hold on to you for a while.
Gary big old
Yeah.
teddy bear just grab on and hold. Yeah.
Yeah.
Squeeze. Do you have because not only are the rodeo contestants, the athletes on circuit, these horses, the animals are also on circuit as well. Did you have a specific horse when you were like, oh no, not this horse again?
Yes.
What was his name?
Well, there's some that, like, I pick up mainly for Calgary Stampede, and you get to know all those horses.
Sure.
And they've mostly Calgary horses are pretty easy to pick up because we've had the same pickup man doing it ever since they started bucking.
Yeah.
But the ones that run, like about the time the whistle goes, they cut a trail. And we've had a couple of them. This, what was the heck her name was? I can't even think of her name right now. But about the time that was, and she was an awesome horse, went to the NFR a couple times, but boy, does she cut a trail and run when about the time the whistle goes.
She knows she's
Yeah.
done.
It was U59. Unfortunate Karma was her name.
Well, that seems
Yeah,
appropriate.
exactly. Yeah, it's so kind of, and sometimes you get horses like younger horses. You got to be, you got to treat them a little bit different, because if you don't want them setting up and trying to get away from you, put it that way. And a lot of these contractors that you go, if you work for them, or they may bring stock to Denver or wherever, and they haven't had the right start as being picked up. And they get to as soon as the pickup man comes close, they start setting up or ducking and trying to get away from you. Put it that way. That's a pain in the ass.
Rascals. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, and everybody's got horses. Like even Calgary's got a couple like that. But it's something that gets in their mind, and it's hard to get them straightened out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, chase them around.
Oh yeah, duck and dive and try to get away from you, and yeah, it's just.
You have a lot going on in a matter of like 30 seconds.
Right.
They're less trying to get the athletes off there, get the horses calmed down.
And it's just as a pickup man in the rodeo, you're trying to do your job as quick and as smooth as possible and efficient, and it therefore makes your rodeo run smoother. And if you run into a couple horses like this and it takes you an extra whatever, and it screws everything up.
You don't have to say names, but were there also riders who you went? Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Figured. Yeah.
The biggest part of them are really good. But sometimes you get a guy, and he don't even have to be a big guy, that will come at you like a badger. Like.
That's amazing. Scraping and clawing to get off that horse.
It does. And it never
what an
fails.
Analogy.
He'll get you by the high up. That's what the worst part is, when you get somebody get you high, like by the neck or and stuff, and his momentum and everything like that. And
like a punching bag.
Yeah, and the guys. And you think when you ride in there, you got your ass in your saddle where it's supposed to be, and you're ready for them.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
And when that rider gets on Unfortunate Karma, that's a bad combination right there. Yeah.
It don't hurt my feelings when that rider ends up going to
Does
the other
not make
pickup
it?
man. Oh, he goes the other way.
Chooses the other guy.
Oh darn.
So then you see, that's when experience comes in, because you're thinking, I'm just going to be just a little bit late on this deal.
Whoops. Yeah.
The other guy will be there.
Especially
Darn.
when it's with your brother.
And then back behind the chutes, your brother's giving you the what for.
I did this with my brother one time years ago. We're up in Saskatchewan at an amateur rodeo, and this kid that you couldn't buck him off, and he had a cast on his free arm. He rode broncs. So the first time we see him with this cast on, I ride in there to pick him up. Well, he comes across like this and hits me across the side of the head with his damn cast.
Oh, ow. Oh, my gosh.
God damn. So anyways, I get him picked up, and so the next weekend, we go same schedule, like everybody. Anyways, next weekend, and I'm thinking, I'm going to let Wade get this guy. So anyways, I hung back as much as I could, and Wade wheeled in there, and same thing happened to him. I mean, he hit Wade.
My gosh. Took both
So
of you
as
out.
time goes on, we get to the next weekend, and this kid makes a ride, and whistle goes, and here's Wade and I both trying to outweigh each other. So
maybe he'll just fall off on his own.
Yeah, this kid kind of looking over both shoulders, wondering
Like,
where the
where's the
pickup
man? Well, he knocked us both out with your cast. So.
That was kind of funny.
Oh,
but,
man.
I would assume, if you're a referee in a basketball or a football game, you can't spend a whole bunch of time just watching the game, because you'll miss something. Stuff.
Yeah.
So I have to assume it's similar being a pickup man. You don't just get to watch the rider perform. But do you have like a contestant that you've seen over the years where you're like, man, I really, really like that guy?
Well, oh yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
But as far as like while the ride's on, I'm kind of watching the horse more than because I need to be. I know where I'm supposed to be at the right time, and stuff like this. You also know that this is a heck of a ride going on right now, but you haven't really paid that much attention to it. Well,
Right.
I mean, you've been watching it, but I'm watching the horse more.
Not the ride.
Right.
The horse's
You
behavior.
just
Anticipate.
You just know
yeah.
it's it's being it's good.
Yeah.
You don't know how good till they they announce the score, but yeah.
Are you doing any rodeos this year? Have you done any, or do you have any coming up?
No.
Okay.
Not till after New Year's.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and then we'll be busy straight through.
So when you're not being a pickup man, are you still roping?
No.
Are you, when you're not being a pickup man, do you go watch rodeos?
No.
Get enough of those.
I will.
I can only assume it's like work.
Well, you
Yeah.
know what? No, I used to rope all the time and stuff, but no. When I get home, I used to train horses.
Okay.
I was really busy doing that. So during the off season, that's what I would do: take outside colts in and ride for people, get them started and stuff. And then I slowly quit that. I didn't have enough time. I was so busy picking up and being only home for a couple months or whatever. I didn't have enough time to get those colts going. It got to be like a really job, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I weaned myself off of that. We will go watch the circuit finals, one performance coming up. So I'm not picking it up, but we'll go watch once.
Yeah.
I watched it on TV.
Yeah.
You know what? When you're gone all the time and you're around people all the time,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's really nice just to get
Just to have
home
a
and
break. Yeah.
stay there for
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah.
Especially if you can watch it on TV. You don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
just-
You don't have to be
absolutely.
uncomfortable in those
Yeah.
tiny chairs. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and the best thing to do is tape it, and then you can just watch
you
where
go.
and when
Exactly.
and what
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah.
yeah, we still have 3 episodes of this last year's NFR. That
yeah.
Oh, really?
I think it's 8, 9, and 10
Yeah.
performance.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny.
We know who won,
Right.
but
Still, it's
No.
different. Go back
No,
and
it's
watch
good.
it. Yeah.
my friend who was married to the bullfighter is not their son, but his son is a bullfighter. And so I watch the bull riding just to watch
Oh, yeah.
him because it's so much fun to watch. Again, watching people who are in tune with those animals figure out where they're going to go, what they're going to do, and then just step in
Yeah.
and do their work, just like a pickup man. It's just
Very
kind of
much,
that
yeah.
underrated performance where you're like,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
takes some talent. You can't just decide, oh, I'm going to ride in there.
Yeah.
Right in there and do that thing. So even though you're doing horse events and you are a roper, what is your favorite rodeo event?
I like them all, basically. I think bronc riding probably my favorite, but I watch them all.
Yeah.
I mean, when you get into the top end pro level, it's all good.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be a fan of team roping, but damn it, they're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
is
all
fun to
there is.
watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do
They
you
do good
watch the pickup men when you're watching
Critique
rodeo?
'em.
Well,
Do you pay more attention to that or the?
no, I do watch them, but
Yeah.
most of them guys are all my friends, and I do watch them. But
Yeah.
like you watch on TV, they don't show the pickup men
No.
very
Yeah,
much
no,
unless they
you don't
screw
see
up,
it. Yeah.
and then they make
Then
a
it's-
big deal of it.
So the goal is to not be on TV.
Yeah.
Is that-
But honestly, in my recollection, I'm not super old and I don't spend a lot of time in the rodeo world, but I don't ever remember there being a fiasco with a pickup man. But it just seems like it's a ripe situation to have,
Yeah.
have
You
a
know-
circus every freaking time.
Most times, everything goes pretty good. The only once in a while, you'll get someone hung up in the bareback riding, and
Yeah.
boy, I'll tell you, if you don't get that handled really quickly, that goes south in a hurry.
Yeah.
The best thing is the quicker the better. I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
but no, as a rule, it's pretty good unless something freaky happens, which it darn sure can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put that many different animals together, something,
Absolutely.
and humans.
And humans. Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
is bound to go weird every now and
Sometimes
again.
they're not on the same page as you are. Put it that way, and it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So you've been hit in the head with a cast. You've had a makeshift badger attack happen to you. Have you had any other major injuries when you've been in the arena?
Yeah, broke ankle, broke leg a couple times, but
Ow.
mostly the odd time you get kicked and things like that. But overall, it's not been too bad. The most serious one was I got my leg broke up at the Canadian Finals there 4 or 5 years ago.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Bronc kicked me and yeah, that wasn't good.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, My husband and I watch the NFR together, and he swears that the guy who runs the chute, so like when the calves run out for either team roping or bulldogging, it's the same guy that opens the chute.
Would you mean he's not talking about the guy where the contestants walk out?
No,
Oh, just
the
for the
guy
timed
who's
event.
running the chute to let the calf
Yeah.
out for those events.
You mean at the timed event, like at the end when they let them out to be, or that when they leave
at the
arena?
beginning
Right.
when they run out of the chute and then the
You're right.
bulldogger chases after
You're
him or
right.
the team
Okay.
rips.
Yeah, yeah.
So that guy.
Yeah.
My husband is convinced it's the same guy and he wears the same clothes all 10 days. Now you've done
That's probably the same guy, no doubt.
but you've done the Calgary Stampede and you've done the NFR. I have to assume you have 10 of the same outfit because that's like the
Yeah, they got their
costume or the
Uniform?
uniform that you have to wear.
They got their vest or whatever shirts they're supposed to wear. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sometimes want to dress you up like you're in a little play toy. You know,
Yeah.
like you got
Here's your little scarf
Yep.
and your vest.
absolutely.
And we want you to be
Play cowboy.
Yeah.
this color tonight with these logos, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
All the sponsorships and all that.
But
Yeah.
my husband will go, he is wearing the same clothes. I'm like, he's probably wearing the same type of
Uniform.
clothes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same clothes on day 1 as it is
Might
day
be a little
10.
dusty by the end.
No,
Yeah.
they've got their little dressing room where everybody, they call the contract personnel, they go in there and this lady looks after that room, and they've got all the judges' shirts there. They got the pickup men's shirts. They got whatever shirts you're supposed to wear. She's got them all hung up there for you.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
And this is the shirt you're wearing
Back-end
tonight.
people.
And this is
Yeah.
a scarf that goes with
Yeah.
Don't
Got somebody-
question it. Get
Yeah.
your clothes
Mhm.
on.
it. Yeah.
So do you have to find or do you get to find sponsors as a pickup man, or is that handled because you're employed by this stock contractor or
No.
whatever it is and you don't have to find your own
You do.
sponsors?
You got to find it. Find your own.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know, and sometimes it's been a real struggle for pickup men because they tried to put us in this little bracket where for a long time we couldn't wear sponsors.
Oh.
And it was a total crock, I'm telling you. And I tried, well, a few of us pickup men in Canada tried to get that changed years ago,
Yeah.
where, say, Dodge sponsors you. And so they give you, they don't sponsor us, put it that way. But the contractor would get paid for wearing, it's weird.
Well, it's a weird industry.
Well, we would wear Dodge chaps,
okay.
put it that way. Yeah. And each contractor up there would say Calgary Stampede would have their brand on there, but there would also be the Dodge
Logo.
on it. And then they would give you shirts to wear
Okay.
that had Dodge on it or whatever they had, Ram or whatever. And so all I wanted to do, because we were getting nothing out of this, we were wearing their stuff and not getting a darn thing out of it.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was get them to give us permission to put a patch on their shirt.
Yeah.
You know, I'll wear your shirt.
Right.
Just let me add to it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me do it. They damn near run me out of Canada because of that.
Oh,
Jeez.
man.
And I mean, it's carry on. So, I mean, well, I kind of bucked the system a little bit. And so
Rebel.
we get to a rodeo, and I went ahead and it was a Calgary Stampede rodeo in the first place. And I had Calgary Stampede shirts, but of course they bring you the Dodge to wear. And I just threw it in the trailer and put my Calgary shirt on. And then, of course, you should have seen the Dodge guys sticking their heads up through the fence So
Where's my shirt?
Yeah.
basically, anyways, now like down in the U.S. here, we still wear the contractor's chaps, obviously, but we can wear our own shirts
Okay.
with our own sponsorships,
Okay.
which helps a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
Do you get to keep the chaps? Or
No,
you just
it both-
borrow them for that day and then you have to give them back to
No,
the
it-
dressing room attendant?
Well, at the finals you do, but yeah. But all the contractors, like all the stock contractors everywhere, have their own chaps.
Okay.
They got their brand on it or whatever. So if I went to work for whoever they'd have their own chaps for me.
Cool.
So rodeo way of life, being around horses, all of that, to do it for as long as you have in such a committed way, it's got to be something that you love about it to still get out there and do it. Yeah. Or, I mean,
Well,
maybe you're just going through the motions now. I don't know. But
Money's a really good part.
yeah,
of it.
yeah, that's fair. Mm-hmm.
The mortgage still needs to
Yep,
be paid.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beyond the money aspect,
No.
what do you love about it?
Well, basically everything.
Yeah.
When you go to these rodeos for the same rodeo over and over for many years, you get so many friends that are always really looking forward to you to get there. You know, they're all excited because everybody's coming to town, and they're probably happy to see you leave at the end of the week. And then you just roll on to the next place and do the same thing over again.
Yeah.
And then you get to special people that you really get to be your friends, and that's basically what it's all about. Not only being the fact that, you know, you love what you're doing as far as picking up and being around the stock and those kind of things, but I think it's all the friends and the people at every place.
It's a unique way of life, too.
It is very much so.
Yeah.
So like being a gypsy, that's what I always said about my friend. She was did photography for a number of years, so a lot of times she's traveling the same routes, taking pictures. I always called it horse cow stuff because it wasn't just rodeos. She would do team penning and anything that involved horses and cows, and she was really good at it. But really, that gypsy lifestyle for a long time.
Well, it's funny because like my live-in quarters horse trailer, you know, that's home to me.
Yeah.
And people are just trying to be really nice. Well, come out and stay. Well, come on in the house. We've got a spare bed in the house, and you know. And I said, no, that's fine. Like my bed's more comfortable than probably the one you've got.
Yeah.
But it's not trying to be ignorant or nothing like that. It's no, I'll stay in my trailer.
Well, when you imagine like you like to go home after you stay in a hotel, that is your home. That's your traveling comfortable space.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't have a horse trailer. I don't have horses, and I don't have living quarters, but I got a really nice camper.
Yeah.
And that camper has the perfect bed in it because if I'm going to own it,
Yeah, exactly.
I better have a bed that I like sleeping in.
Yeah. So we have the, like we mentioned, circuit finals coming up here in January in Great Falls. For people who have never been to a rodeo or maybe coming to Great Falls to watch it, what can they expect, or what would you say to specifically kind of watch for as you're going to these?
Beyond the contestants, like dig in, become
like the
a nerd.
whole experience.
Be a nerd like me.
Well, I don't know, other than the fact that, you know, you come on out and see all your local. Basically, that's what the circuit finals are all about, is giving your local guys a chance at the finals like this, the guys that rodeo all summer just in your circuit. And then you get to see like your top end guys that have been to the national finals. They're like they try to make your circuit finals, but they're also out there trying to get to all the big rodeos too. But I don't know, it's just all good old family entertainment.
Yeah. Is so can you explain too, because the NFR, kind of the Super Bowl of rodeo, is not long after that. Can you explain for people kind of how that works, how cowboys and cowgirls get to make it, like points and money and all of that?
Well, it's to go to the NFR, it's totally money won. And so like your circuit finals was set up basically for your local type people that are good contestants, like good athletes. They just don't want to travel. And they've got their ranch or job or whatever, and they're more their weekend type cowboys, contestants or whatever you want to call them. And that's basically the difference on it. And they have to compete at so many rodeos. I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think maybe there's got to be like 15 or something like that.
Okay.
You can make up whatever you want.
Yeah, we'll believe
We aren't
you.
going to fact check.
You're
Somebody's going to be
expert
listening
here.
saying that ain't
yeah,
right.
That's not right. Yeah.
But
Hey,
first,
it causes good engagement for us.
but yeah, and then it's hard for those guys that are trying to make the NFR and really rodeoing, because they still have they have to designate a circuit.
Yeah.
Like that at the beginning. So if they're going to try to make their circuit finals, they have to be able to get to 15 rodeos, which is difficult for those guys because they're a little more prone to go to the bigger rodeos
Where they're bigger payouts.
where bigger payouts, more money to be won than your smaller ones. So, and I was told one of the top end bronc riders that was at the NFR, I think, and this may be not right, but that's what I was told here a while ago, that one of them didn't qualify because he didn't have enough circuit rodeos, which is really too bad for the circuit, because when you take that kind of a guy out, it's not good. I hope it's not true, but that's
But sometimes it's tough if you're on the road in Mississippi and then you got to be in Augusta
Right.
the next day.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if he didn't make it, then the bottom guy moved up. One
Right,
guy was lucky enough to move up from the bottom and take his place. So
Yeah,
all
everyone
good.
gets to develop and grow and hopefully do good.
Yeah.
Well, I've had a blast
well,
thinking I know what I'm talking about and getting some of it confirmed.
Yeah.
And
You did get
actually,
some
I
correct
thought you
today.
were pretty up on
not
it.
pretty, pretty
look
bad.
at that.
Every now and again, I surprise people with my stupidity and with my
What you
intelligence.
know.
Yeah.
And you found someone who knows where has been
Yeah.
to where you were from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think really it's a badge of honor to have been at the Loring Bar at some point
Exactly.
in your life. The number of times that I helped Canadians cross the border with maybe some
I was
things
like,
they
should we
weren't
know about
supposed to
this? Yeah.
have.
Right.
But also our border used to close. So there were a number of times Canadians were trying to make the border, did not make the border, and then came back and had to spend the night
Right.
in Loring.
Hey, there you go.
So did you ever get to Valmarie Rodeo when you were up there?
Never went
Never
to
went?
the few times I've been to Canada a lot, but Valmarie was still just a little close to home.
Yeah.
For the intent when I was growing up there, because Canadian drinking age is 18 and the U.S. was 21, and so you didn't want to do that too close to home.
Right.
So I never been to the Valmarie Rodeo, but have heard great stories
It
about
was
it.
always, I went there for years and years and years. All them little rodeos across the border there, like
Oh yeah.
little, and they were those actually were the most fun rodeos. Like I miss them because like now
Yeah.
you go to all the big shot rodeos,
Yeah.
you know, and it's the atmosphere is not
Different.
the same.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, when my college roommate was chasing her rodeo clown, we went to a lot of the smaller rodeos. I'm like, are you really thinking this is a solid idea? And she's like, oh,
For
yeah,
life, yeah.
I'm so in love with him. I'm like,
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there you
Signing
go.
up for the life too.
she
Yeah.
participated in the Rodeo Queen circuit, so
sure.
we had some of that fun. I got to make outfits and then squeeze them into some of these outfits.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of elements of that rodeo lifestyle.
I know a lot about the rodeo queen world too. Jody was Miss Rodeo Washington.
Oh,
And then she went on to be Miss Rodeo Washington director, and then we moved over here, and she was Montana director, and
Yeah,
then
she's
on
been
the
very
NFR deal, and I know all about rodeo. Queen.
It's like too
the
much.
queening
too much.
competition element is definitely a different
Yeah,
world.
absolutely.
We'll have to have Jody come back and talk
would-
about that process
that would be
sometime
awesome,
too.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
would be fun because my college roommate was a contestant for Miss Rodeo Montana,
hey.
and we drove up from Bozeman when she participated here in Great Falls. We didn't go,
Yeah,
and then that's the weird part. We went to the crowning of Miss Rodeo Montana, and she didn't win, but we didn't go to the rodeo. I'm like, well, we should have
seems
just stayed
backwards.
along.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am so happy to find a fellow Saskatchewan person who likes to hang out in small towns. I think
Yeah.
that's great. And you shared a lot of great knowledge.
Yeah, thanks for informing us on what happens behind the scenes there.
I really do wish that, and I know some of them rodeos have quit now and stuff, but I always said before I was going to be done, like retiring, I would love to go back and pick up at every. I guess I
Little
really
one.
wouldn't even have to pick up, but just go and hang out at
Yeah.
all those rodeos. 'Cause they were the best.
Yeah, fun. So don't stop at circuit finals. Keep
Right.
going. Come for circuit finals. Come for the state fair rodeo. Come for Augusta. Come for Belt. Come for all these great PRCA rodeos that are held here. White Sulphur Springs has one over Labor Day. So there's plenty of opportunity to use Great Falls as a base camp for all your rodeo adventures. Just know they don't happen every day.
Right.
We have an episode on that as well, how they're
Sometimes
not
visitors
happening all
assume
the
they
time.
can go find a rodeo any given day.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about people supporting the circuit finals, there's it's sold out every performance pretty
Yeah.
much. And I've been to other circuits too, and not so much.
Yeah.
I mean, the contestants' wives would make up the biggest
Make up
part
the
of it.
Most of the
yeah.
attendance.
Yeah.
So
No, it's very well attended here. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and this year it is January
12th through the 14th, I believe.
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's a great time to be in Great Falls. Get your rooms reserved now if you don't already have them, and then get your tickets.
And I'm going to plug too, we also have a blog post on our website talking about all the other things you can do while you're here for Circuit Finals that weekend during the day. And we also have a ticket giveaway come on Wednesday to see Casey Donahue perform at the Newberry the Wednesday before Circuit Finals. So look that up, see, because we have on our social media channels how you can win those tickets and some other things you can do while you're in town.
Make it a party,
Yeah.
people. Party people in Great Falls.
I like it.
and so hopefully it won't be 30 below.
Yeah,
I'm sure it won't.
You're inside though. You like you
Well,
said, it gets warm in there.
Yeah. Well, that one year when I was picking up the circuit finals here, it was 30 plus below.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, where we kept a buck and horses and the pickup horses over another building, and you were dressed up in your parka and your hat, carrying your cowboy hat, going over to the other. Yeah, it was.
They should start coat check for people.
Yeah, no
when they-
kidding. That would be a good idea, actually.
It
yeah.
is really nice because we finally broke out of the deep freeze from last week.
Was
So
that, quite a switch.
The
I'm
swing
just shocked
was
that there's no
challenging.
snow left.
Isn't
I
that something?
know.
Yeah.
It's so weird now.
Yeah.
We're all staring out
Didn't
the
take
window.
very long.
It looks like spring out
It
there
does,
right now.
yeah, because it's greener than it usually is.
Yeah.
And in true fashion, I have no idea what the future weather looks like. So
We can't
I
tell
always
that
like
far
to
out
make
anyway.
a surprise.
Yeah.
It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
One or the other.
You'll be inside anyway. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
So get your tickets, get your rooms, get your cowboy hats. Get ready to have a blast. Now that you know more about what a pickup man does, what they are, you'll be able to pay more attention to all the intricacies of rodeo production.
You'll know what to look for now.
Look at you, just becoming a rodeo expert while you
There
listen.
you go.
So thank you for listening. Thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. It's been fun.
And until we see your bright, smiling, happy, healthy face here in the wonderful community of Great Falls, we hope you're creating amazing memories with your friends and family wherever you are. See you soon.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.